Patsy Ramsey found a ransom note and her daughter, JonBenet, missing, and so she called 911 at 5:52 a.m. the day after Christmas. Then Patsy called Barbara Fernie. "We need help. Please come over here. JonBenet's missing." Then Patsy called Priscilla White. "Please get over here. We need you." Officer Rick French arrived at the Ramsey residence at about 6 a.m. Officer French is shown the ransom note. Suddenly, I remember that Mike Archuleta is to meet us at the Jeffco airport. I need to call him and explain what has happened. Next, John Ramsey phoned his pilot, Mike Archuleta, but he had already left his house for the airport. John Ramsey called the airport, but Archuleta hadn't arrived yet, so John left a message for Mike to call him. When Archuleta returned Ramsey's call, Patsy answered. Archuleta found Patsy was hysterical and barely coherent. When Ramsey finally talked to Archuleta that morning, he instructed the pilot not to fly to Minneapolis. Instead, Archuleta was to notify the commercial airline on which Ramsey's children were arriving from Atlanta and leave word for them to call their father. Mike volunteered to fly to Minneapolis and pick them up. John didn't want him to do that, so John asked him to get a hold of them when they got to Minneapolis, and so Mike took care of that. I called my banker friend Rod Westmoreland in Atlanta to arrange for the ransom money and discovered that he has left for his parents' home. I get through to his assistant at Atlanta's Merrill Lynch office. I'm thankful today is a work day. I quickly explain what has happened, and she says she'll get in touch with Rod right away. "John, this is Rod. We've arranged for you to have a credit line of $118,000 on your Visa card. You can go to a local bank and get the money as a cash advance." "Thanks, Rod," I said quickly. I do not want to keep the phone line busy any longer than necessary. Detective Linda Arndt arrived at 8:10, just in time for the ransom call to come in between 8 and 10 a.m. The Ramseys' telephone wasn't used to make outside phone calls. They used two cell phones, John Ramsey's cell phone and John Fernie's cell phone. We get several calls throughout the morning from a wide range of people. Every time the phone rings, we all jump. I answer each time, but only after the police start the tape recorder they have attached to our line. Even our old nanny, Shirley Brady, picks that morning to call from Columbus, Georgia, to say hello. I am probably rude to her as I tell her I can't talk, but I want to keep the phone line open. Rod Westmoreland calls a couple times to confirm the details of the cash transfer. We get one hang-up, and instantly I wonder if that might have been the kidnapper. Patsy told Detective Arndt that she had spoken to her mother after she had discovered JonBenet was missing. Patsy's mother is Nedra Paul. She lives in Atlanta, Georgia. She had told Patsy that Miss Hoffman had said many times that JonBenet was such a beautiful girl, and wasn't she afraid that someone was going to kidnap her? There were two different phone calls that morning when John Ramsey acted differently. When he received each of these phone calls, John stood in front of the north door located between the den and the kitchen. John looked outside during the phone call. John told the caller that JonBenet had been kidnapped. John was sobbing and had difficulty speaking. At times, John was unable to speak. I was told by friends the identity of the two callers. One caller was John Ramsey's son, John Andrew Ramsey. The other caller was John Ramsey's daughter, Melinda Ramsey. I called Gary Merriman, our human resources director at Access Graphics, trying to get the names, addresses, and phone numbers of recently released employees for the police. Now Gary is aware of what's going on in our home. After 1 o'clock, John Ramsey discovered JonBenet's dead body in the basement in the wine cellar. I try to focus on what we are going to do next. Boulder isn't really our home. Atlanta is. We need to go home now, to our parents, to our family, to my brother Jeff. That's what we need to do. She's gone, Mike. They've killed her. Now get that plane ready to go to Atlanta. We'll be out there. We gotta escape the law. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and I'll see you next weekend with another episode about the JonBenet Ramsey case.